Is she finally starting to realize? Breaking today, Meghan Markle finally gives up after the backlash to her Thanksgiving madness. This from Shooter Scoop, who says she is sick of being roasted over a turkey. Well, by the way, Meghan, we're sick of all of the turkeys that you're delivering to the world. We're also sick of your desperate bids to make money, including this latest email pleading for everyone to continue to buy Was Never products thanks to a 20% discount. This is not a life of service, Meghan. This is not changing the world. You're never going to fly in this industry. So maybe it is about time that you wake up and smell the turkey. But here's the new reporting. Shooter Scoop writes, I'm hearing Meghan Markle is shaken, fed up, and honestly ready to give up, trying after her Thanksgiving cooking video turned into a full-blown hygiene scandal. My reaction to that? Diddums. Sources tell me she thought she was sharing a cute, cozy Duchess goes domestic moment, seasoning her turkey by hand, jewellery on, hair down, totally relaxed. But the internet? Oh, honey. The internet tore her apart, and I mean tore her apart. Salmonella Sussex is now her nickname, deservedly. One insider told Shooter Scoop Meghan was devastated. It was supposed to be wholesome. She didn't think the world would drag her over a turkey. She's sick of being criticised no matter what she does. Behind the scenes, I'm hearing she's spiraled fast. She's told friends she feels like every tiny thing becomes ammunition against her. Another source whispered she said she's ready to give up sharing anything personal. She feels humiliated and blindsided. Meanwhile, the comments online went nuclear, people calling her unsanitary, dangerous, clueless, even comparing the poor bird to a biohazard scene. And get this, she was especially upset because just days earlier, she and Harry were baking cookies with Archie and Lily for charity, hoping to soften their image. This, not the follow-up she imagined. The hard truth, Meghan cannot win. Post nothing, she's cold. Post something, she's cringe. But I'm sorry, Angela Levin, our Royal Mastermind Prince Harry's biographer who's with me now. I'm sorry. I have no sympathy. Yes, she should give up. She should give up because she sold the world a pup. None of us buy in to what she is selling. And also, she's just really goddamn terrible at it. It's mortifying.
You're making me laugh. Well, I think this big show business that she's doing now, poor me, I'm so left behind and everybody can't understand all the very good ways of dealing with everything. She can't understand that. She could have done it years ago and actually worked hard to do things that were sensible, but not that, that turkey makes anybody feel sick looking at it. But also she would say this because they were cancelling what she's doing. So she has to pretend that she really wants to do that. You can't let her get somebody else say, well, I'm afraid we don't want you. And she feels, no, how can anybody feel like that? But really, she's got to agree that she doesn't want it. It's mainly her that knows that she doesn't want to do that. It's not actually saying, I'm really sorry. She's furious. How could anybody talk to her in that way disgusting. We're all disgusting.
What she wants is the money. Exactly. What she wants is the money, and what she sees is the money slipping away. And of course, Angela, there is a serious side to this because there's always a family at play. There is the Markle family at play. And Thomas Markle Jr., who continues to look after Meghan's father, Thomas Markle Sr. in the Philippines, has just had enough. Watch.
Talking to you directly, Meghan Markle, and I hope you're fucking watching. This is how you want to go out, right? This is how it's gonna go down, right? Seriously. The lowest of the low is what you are. The lowest of the low is what you are. For the man who gave you everything, your whiny little, stingy little ass, your whole entire life. And this is how it's going to be. No phone calls, no text, no nothing, no nothing to your dad whatsoever. My dad. You know, while I'm sitting here, you know, going fucking broke, seriously, because I can't get going. You know, I can't get going. Every day is a new day, and every day is like either good or the next day is really fucking bad.
And I mean, Angela Levin, there is a divide within the Markle family about whether Thomas Markle should be putting that out publicly. But I feel the point that he makes is completely fair. Like, how on earth can you try and bring us into your shitty Thanksgiving, Meghan, when your dad is really struggling and needs just a tiny, tiny, teeny little bit of what you earn every single day, given he put his life savings into putting you through university, raising you when Doria was nowhere to be seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one small bedroom that's they're in. I think it's very small. It's not that they've got a big flat or anything, so the whole thing must be very difficult for both of them. There's no sort of room for him to walk up and down a little bit or anything. No, it's absolutely tragic. But you see, Meghan thinks she's now in the super class, and I think this will be another idea that she should realise and take on board, that actually her food might be rotten, but she's actually also rotten to her father, and that she should actually behave herself and see what she can do. Because she doesn't want to she doesn't want to speak to her half brother, she doesn't want to speak to her father, because they're not in her level anymore. You know, she's too superior, and you see that the way she behaves all the time. You know, turning up at places where anybody who had any sensibility would not do that, in case these very, very A1 people actually sort of say, please go away, or don't want to. But she just thinks it's her. They'll be thrilled that she's there. If she pays for it, she wants to go. It's a very sort of strange way of behaving, that you feel you want to give people the possibility of understanding how wonderful and clever you are. And nobody really does anymore. The beginning they did because they thought she was very interesting and all that, but actually she's just no longer interesting to anybody, and you can see quite why.
And Angela, of course, today we've got the indignity of Prince Harry, someone who once was the most popular member of the British royal family, selling his soul at a Canadian real estate conference for realtors, you know, blokes who sell houses in Ontario, Canada. It's not even sold out, Angela. And you think, as his biographer, how far this guy has fallen, and it is down to her. A very quick but personal message from me to you to let you know that the best way you can support Dan Wootton Outspoken is to subscribe to my Substack at www.outspoken.live. Substack is a free speech platform that protects me from big tech cancellation and lawfare. Paid annual or monthly subscribers get an extra hour of content with the Royal Uncancelled After Show available every weekday with no advertising whatsoever. You can also message me direct on there. That's www.outspoken.live.
Well, it's completely down to her, hasn't it? Because he's lost all the get up and go. None of that is there anymore. You can see it because he's so anxious to please his wife. At one level, it's always very nice, I have to say. But, you know, it's he doesn't know what to do for her because she can be so spiteful and nasty. And he doesn't know what to do. And then she interferes with him perhaps having his breakfast. I mean, I thought that she pulled by his neck so he would come because she wanted him that minute, but hopefully I was wrong. But it looks like you know, come here because I want to show everybody that we're still in love and everything's perfect. Well, you know, a lot of people are very clever and see that, or even sensible, can see that's not. But with the Harry thing, I mean, he just desperately is trying to gather money around. What does he know about houses? You know, he's had palaces, amazing houses. He just won a huge one when he came to USA. And he's actually got one in Portugal, which he's not using. I think they're letting it out or something like that. So he knows zero. So how can he tell people what to do? It's a bit like he's always going in planes and he tells people they mustn't fly. It's the other way around. That he doesn't know anything about it. But people might think, oh, it's lovely to see Prince Harry. My goodness, the king's son, aren't we lucky? But I think it was less than half full, the room. And the tickets were £250 each, something like that. And people didn't want to listen to him when most of them were already people who'd been working on that for years.
And Angela, it's like he's been turned into the royal traveling freak show, the modern day equivalent. And this is why people warned him, don't do what you're about to do, Harry. And it's amazing how quickly he has fallen. And Angela, I wanted to speak to you specifically today about Prince Harry's past as well, because it's obviously something you know a lot about, given you were his biographer officially and you spent all of that time with him. And it's come into the spotlight because of the fact that Chelsea Davy, who so many people consider the true love of Harry's life, the one who got away, the one who wasn't prepared to put up with his bull crap. She's
No,
finally going public, Angela, and she's going public about her new life, about her happiness, about her husband, about her wedding, about her children, about the fact that she's living this life in Mauritius. And Angela, just knowing Prince Harry and his relationship with Chelsea, I covered it a lot at the time, actually. It was very off on over many years. I feel like this is still going to be a dagger into his heart, whether he's prepared to admit that or not. I imagine when he saw these photos, it was a devastating moment.
yes, but I think a lot of people regret somebody they've left behind. They think they needed to move on, but they decide not to, and then they think, blast, missed that. But I know what happened with Harry. I mean, they got on extremely well because she was very lively, good fun, very intelligent, and he loved where she lived, where all the animals that he liked were in Africa, and her family welcomed him, and so he really had a lovely time. And it went on like that at school, university, and then she went to university, and he didn't like it, but she couldn't keep coming back. And she wanted him to go out to see her, and he didn't want to. And he became not reliable, let's put it like that. And he just got fed up with her, and he was all over the place. So it wasn't him actually saying, let me hang on to you. He just behaved like a very silly boy. He was a beautiful girl who was good fun, charming, knowledgeable, and all that. And he just decided that he wanted to be a mischievous person again and do what he wanted. From her side, she found it very difficult to cope with all the people who were around them all the time. Quite understandably, it's quite difficult if people are calling you or coming up to you if you're sitting together somewhere watching football and they keep saying, oh, hello, and all that sort of stuff, which she found embarrassing and difficult, and she didn't really know how to deal with that. Where, of course, Harry did. And so it just started growing away. And they were very young. She was very young. And I think that that in the pot, it was difficult for her. But she was very, very upset afterwards that she'd lost him, because she did like him for him very much. He became very unhappy because he made a fool of it. And
Yeah, and isn't that the key line, Angela?
yes,
She
just going
liked
to say
him
that.
for him. The total opposite of the woman who he ended up with, who liked him for everything else, who liked him for the celebrity status, liked him for the royal links, liked him for the money, but doesn't like him for him at all.
She wasn't the least bit interested in the monarchy in a rude way. She was very nice to them, but she didn't want their money. She came from quite a sort of family who had quite a lot of money, and she didn't want that. She wasn't someone who wanted lots of money. She was an outside girl. She was a fun girl, but she wasn't, oh my goodness, I'm going to get a prince, rather like Meghan, that, prince, I got it now, he's very successful. She wasn't like that. She'd like to have fun with him. And I think the errors about his behavior, which she understood very well, she could have handled, but he didn't really let her. I think she would have brought out the best in him, actually. I mean, not they're drinking alcohol nonstop, but she's such a nice girl that he could have become, very easygoing and enjoy life in a different sort of way. And just to have been a very different sort of couple. But, they were both young, and it started when she was at school and him. So these relationships sometimes die off when they're just a bit older. But I'm very pleased she's happy. I really wanted her
Oh,
to
she dodged a bullet. She dodged a bullet. Trust me, she dodged a bullet, and it's brilliant that she's very happy. And Angela, things have got even worse for Prince Harry this week, with Robert Jobson, a man who we both know, the biographer of King Charles, very close to the court of the monarch, now putting forward the argument that Harry himself, Angela, should be removed from the line of succession. Now, this is just another blow because, of course, we've already got to the point where it's almost inevitable that William is going to strip him of his title, potentially strip him of his apparent birthright as a prince, just like has happened to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. But Jobbo's actually going one step further and saying, no, that's not enough. That is not enough. As a non-working royal living in the United States, both Harry and his two children should not be in the line of succession whatsoever. Watch this. But first, have you ever actually looked at the nutrition label on a normal bag of crisps? You'll usually find a complete chemical cocktail, seed oils, MSG, artificial dyes, vague natural flavors, and a list of ingredients that reads more like a science experiment than a snack. And then we wonder why we feel bloated, tired, and frankly a bit grim after we eat them. That's why I was so interested when I discovered Massa. They're part of this growing real food movement, bringing back the kind of food our grandparents ate before snacks started being made in labs. Now, Massa's tortilla chips contain just 3 ingredients: organic, nixtamalized corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. That's it. So no seed oils, no mystery chemicals, just real food. And here's the crucial bit. They don't just avoid all the rubbish, they actually taste incredible. Snacking on Massa chips is nothing like eating regular chips. With Massa, you feel satisfied, light, and energetic. There's no crash, no bloat, no horrible sluggish feeling afterwards because they're made with real food. They're more satisfying too. So you're not mindlessly inhaling half a family bag and still feeling hungry afterwards. And if you love Massa, you will also love their sister company, Vandy Crisps. You know how much I love crisps, but Vandy makes the most delicious 3-ingredient potato chips. Proper flavor, proper crunch, without the garbage ingredient list. So ready to give Massa or Vandy a try? You can use the code Outspoken for 25% off your first order at massachips.com or vandycrisps.com. Or it might be easier, you can simply click the link in the video description box below or scan the QR code on screen to claim this delicious offer. And for our viewers in the United States, Massa and Vandy are now available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. So stop by and pick up a couple of bags before they're gone. But now, back to the show.
Can't have anomalies such as the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, being in line to the throne when he's rejected the throne. He's trashed his family. He does what he lives abroad. You can't have him. I think they got
What, should he be taken out of the
I
line
think
of
so. I don't think he should be given. I don't think he should be the Duke of York, Duke of Sussex. I don't think he should be Prince Harry.
Well, Andrew should therefore also be taken out of the
Absolutely, without a question. I think the line of succession needs to be much clearer than it is. I think.
Wow,
I think
okay.
that because you've got these situations where, what if there was a terrible accident? You know, as it stands, Prince Harry could be king. Now, given what's happened, I don't think that's. He's basically now effectively what is an American. He lives in America. He's rejected the idea of working for the monarchy. He does, although he says he didn't. He said he wanted it half in, half out. Well, you can't do that. I think really, in all honesty, it should be cut. So we have now at the moment down to Louis. There is no need really for any more.
Now, Angela, it was very interesting for me, Robert Jobson putting this argument forward. I mean, he's close to the king and he's a traditionalist, you know, and it just shows you, Angela, how much that Overton window is moving, how fast things are changing, and how bad that's going to be for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I mean, we think back to the Oprah Winfrey interview, Angela, where she was demanding, you know, no, it's my children's birthright. I'm going to raise them in America. I hate the royal family, but they are a goddamn prince and princess. And look how quickly things have changed.
Yes, they have changed. I agree that I think it's very wrong that he's still in the line. And for the same reason, if there is some terrible accident, he would be, if they all went together, and which is what the king is trying to stop them going up in a helicopter all together, because it is too dangerous, as well as actually messing up the whole of the monarchy. And I think it's a lesson back. He's been so rude. He's been so cruel. He's been so irresponsible. I mean, even going off round to Africa and pretending that they're royals and they want all this sort of attention. You know, I think it's so disgusting to do that, because you're just really trying to make your parent feel very bad about it and upset, and it's a way of hurting very much. So I think that she should be removed. Meghan never wants it, but she does really. But she won't do anything, and you can't actually get her to change, because she would feel that she hadn't won the game, and she's still full of resentment about how people have talked to her and all that. And the little children don't know anything about it. And I think it's awful giving titles to small children when they're at school, because people will mock them and say, you know, you're not a princess, you haven't got a crown, and all that sort of stuff. And I think also turning their faces from us is the cruelest thing that's going on and on and on. It's not trying to make us keen, I don't think, anyway, which Meghan must be doing, because the tension is going up until maybe you can see a little bit of the face or a little bit more. But I think that's absolute ridiculous way of behaving. And I think that it's very cruel that you can't let them be who they are. They don't see their family anyway, apart from her mother, and they don't even know what it's like to have a family, a big family with cousins and all that. And I can't imagine that they would want to suddenly change into a sort of London type life. They won't. And I think they shouldn't get any. They shouldn't be been called prince or princess. It's just not right.
No, indeed. And Angela, the breaking news today is that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has now officially been stripped of 2 more titles. He had held the Order of the Garter title since 2006, the Royal Victorian Order honour since 2011. I mean, this is sort of like the final humiliation. However, Angela, the royal formerly known as Prince is fighting back, certainly in regards to Royal Lodge. This reporting from Tom Sykes of The Royalist, who says he's in no rush to pack his bags. Now, Canal Citadel had an interesting take on this after it was revealed that Prince Edward pays a peppercorn rent for his Surrey mansion, writing, Prince Edward was attempting to mind his business and here he is. There is nothing wrong with Prince Edward paying a peppercorn rent on top of being a working royal, one of the most hard-working, who never gets any accolades and yet consistently travelled to represent the crown. Prince Edward, and son of the Queen, was also entitled to a royal home. He pays rent. But all of this scrutiny on all working royals is what happens because Buckingham Palace allowed the Andrew situation to set fire to the monarchy before they would finally do what should have been done from the beginning. This is the lesson about having a decisive leader as opposed to a reactive leader. King Charles is a reactive leader. He does not lead from the front at times of crisis. He always reacts to backlash at the end. William is very different. And she says the more you wait to make a decision, the more the problem grows and infects the rest of the institution. Now, Edward is getting unnecessary scrutiny when he did nothing wrong. Good leadership starts at the head. When the head fails to lead properly, the entire body is affected. Angela, is that fair criticism of the king?
No, I don't think it is at all. I think the reason why he didn't take action beforehand was that he knew very, very much that his queen, his mother, particularly loved Andrew, and he didn't want to upset her. And I think when you lose a person in your family after they die, you don't want to go and do things that you know they wouldn't like. And I think he found that that would be very, very difficult for him. And what he did is he just hoped that Andrew would compromise and change and make life more calm. But the thing is, you see, Andrew's always thought that he's much better than the king, much better than Charles. As a second child and man child, he actually felt that he should get rid of Charles and he would be king because he was much more sensible, much more clever and much more, energetic. It was dreadful that Charles liked flowers and reading and music. And so he tried very, very, very hard with the Queen not to let him get made king, despite the fact that he was the heir to the throne. And that's how he's done. And I think this behaviour at the moment is just to be nasty to Charles because he won't listen to him. He won't compromise. He won't actually follow what the best journey would be. He just absolutely has to make things difficult. So they come to companionship and they come to somewhere where they can agree on everything. And then Andrew says, oh, well, I can't leave early. I've got, other things on my mind. It'll take, a year or so before I get out. And you just think, bang, it's like a gong. Here he is back again. He will not actually let his brother control him. So for him to get into a big shouting match is actually going to be not a good idea. And William, as the next heir, is a different type of person altogether. And he can do things. He's got a hardness that he can go ahead and do this. But I think Charles, when he did decide to do something, was strong. And I think he's wonderful. I think he's wonderful with so many people, with young people who've been sleeping in the street and helping them, give them work and all that. And I think he's a very nice man with a good heart. Whereas Andrew is just an angry ball of anger. And he's just a nasty piece of work, and he wants to do what he wants to do, and he doesn't want his brother to overshadow him.
Fascinating
So I stand
stuff
up for him.
from
stand up.
Angela Levin. No, indeed, of course, stand up for our king, our royal mastermind. But there is going to be much more from Angela over on Substack right now. And I've got to tell you too about our special show tomorrow. We are watching the With Love Meghan Christmas special, so you don't have to. And you can subscribe right now for a record discount to get the Royal Uncancelled After Show. First, with no advertising whatsoever, you can watch live or on demand 35% discount for Black Friday. The address, www.danwootonoutspokengcom/sale, S-A-L-E. That's www.danwootonoutspokengcom/sale. Our special address for our one-off 35% sale on Substack. It is our biggest ever discount. And of course, Substack is a free speech platform. I would love you to be part of the community over there. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.